morning. Oh my gosh, I can't believe we're on episode 2 already.
I know. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I was just thinking that intro that we played, which I love that you and your husband put together. We have the video of you and I doing that old broadcast in that like iPad where he's stirring his coffee, and we both had long hair.
That's true. That's true. I should update it with our new show now. But yeah, that was so 2020.
So last year. Yeah, welcome everybody that's tuning in live. We're excited to have you here. As a reminder, when you tune in live, you can experience an ad-free broadcast. You get to interact with us in the comments, which we have up, and we can see. We encourage you to start posting. Where are you watching from? If you're in the U.S., give us city, state. If you're outside of the U.S., what country are you watching from? We would love to hear from you. I am currently, I'll say, based in Las Vegas. I kind of have this gypsy spirit energy this year. So we'll see where I broadcast from this year. But Lisa, you're in Colorado.
I am just in South Denver in a suburb called Parker, Colorado, for all of you Colorado people out there. And yes, I am actually a native to Colorado. So I am a native and lived on Maui for 1 year, but otherwise I've been in this beautiful, incredible state. And quite frankly, I can't imagine living anywhere else. There's no place like Colorado. So yeah, so that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful part of the country. I've been to Denver once, and it's very different than Las Vegas. I've lived in Las Vegas for a combination of like 20 years. I've tried to leave Las Vegas twice. Nothing against people that live in Las Vegas. It's been a wonderful city. But I'm from, my mug this morning. I'm from Washington State. I am from the Seattle area, a town called Kent. And I have been a Seattle Seahawks fan for a really long time. And there are rumblings going on that they're going to trade Russell Wilson.
We might have to box because, the Denver Broncos and Seattle, my dad calls them the Seattle Sea Chickens. That's where we're at. So I'm just letting you know.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I know. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I love all football. I love sports. It's fun, especially now that we can watch it back on TV a little bit. So watching the Super Bowl, I don't know if you watched it or caught the commercials. There was a Oatly, like oat milk commercial that they played. And I believe it was a CEO. And they have to pay like all these millions of dollars to have a commercial for the Super Bowl. And he was on a keyboard talking about how cow milk was not in his product. And it is like, he has like the worst musical abilities, but I'm telling you, it was genius. And I've caught it on some of the business news reports about that commercial. So kudos to Oatly, the CEO, for coming up with that commercial. You should definitely Google it. And did you catch the clip of the judge and attorney where he was a cat?
I definitely did not. I did not watch the Super Bowl. I'm not going to lie, you guys. I was doing other things.
So I have to send it to you then. Comment and let me know. First, did you catch the Oatly commercial? Do you know what I'm talking about? But the other thing was circulating on Twitter. So I'll have to send it to you. It's been like all over social media. But there was an attorney, and there was a couple other people on the call, and it was some kind of hearing with a judge, and his Zoom filter, instead of his face, it was a cat's face, and it was moving and the eyes were moving, and they're like, hey, your filter's on. And he's like, oh God, and you see him panicking like through the face of the cat. And he's like, I'm not a cat, I'm a real person. They're like, no.
Wow, that's pretty funny. Yes, totally. I want to see it. And here's my mug. It's not very exciting. It's Colorado Public Radio, which I don't know. I guess I'll give them a shout out. I don't know if I want to, but I happen to really love this mug because it has a lid and it keeps everything cold or hot or cold, I guess. But I'm working on these mugs coming soon to our Buddhist Biohacker store with some pretty awesome stuff on it. So, because these mugs are really nice. So that's my mug today. It's not very exciting, but it's really useful. Keeps everything warm.
Practical is good. I know I've heard a little bit of a rumbling that you might have a cauldron mug that we will be able to showcase on this morning. Cauldron is Lisa's cat, and Cauldron has been kind of bad this week. So what has Cauldron been up to?
Cauldron's been so bad, and I made these little Valentine's Day. I guess I should have had a picture. We could have pulled it up on the screen, but I made these little Valentine's Day like palm little animal creatures or whatever. And Cauldron seems to think that they're like the coolest thing to hunt and kill. So she continues to take these palm things and rip them apart, rip their wings off and their little heart ears and things. And just, I'm finding them all over the house. So my husband actually put all the little palm babies in the cupboard that were left because she's literally killed like 3 of them. And she thinks she's like a foul huntress. Like she thinks she's killed something super magnificent. She's like so proud of herself and wild and oh my gosh. But yes, I'm working on some Cauldron, official Cauldron mascot for our this morning show, coffee mugs and maybe a t-shirt too. So look for that because it's coming soon. I'm almost done with it, but it's a little tedious to go in and like clear out backgrounds of pictures with animals because there's so much fur, so it's hard to do. So anyway, it's almost done. And awesome. Hi everybody, look at all these great people. We have so many great people in here saying hello from Huntington Beach, Tracy in small town Iowa. We're gonna have to talk about this Tracy from Iowa because I'm pretty sure you're in the Ajatakasha community called Iowa Tracy. And my very, very best friend in Iowa, Tracy, passed away 1 year ago in December, and it was very sad. And I talk to her all the time on the other side, and it's really weird to me that there's this Iowa Tracy that showed up out of nowhere. So that's kind of interesting. We have Michelle from Idaho, Lisa or Alyssa, I'm not sure, probably Elisa. Henderson, Carrie from Colorado, Washington State, Magdalena from London, Hope from Windsor, Colorado. We've got Silver Spring, Maryland. Oh my gosh. We have Sherry in Lakewood, Tracy in Michigan. I mean, look at all these people. Claire from Omaha, Eve from Canada. So amazing.
I know. We've got another Montana. Wow. People are from everywhere. We did put on your Ajatakasha app, which is a free app in the smartphone. Just pull up on your app store, Ajatakasha. And we asked people to submit their photos of them with their coffee mugs. So do we have a photo to share of like a subscriber in the spotlight?
We do. We actually have a photo reel and a subscriber in the spotlight. So I've got my photo reel first. I have to take our little banner down. This is what I've learned though, you guys. It's like mini show production. So hold on. Let me click off our little banner. Oh, I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Okay, there, that's gone. Okay, here we go. Okay, so our photo reel for this week is, drum roll, we have so many great people from our Ajatakasha app. Thank you so much to all of you guys who are posting your photos in this morning. So those are all of the new pictures. I especially love this one. This one's from Chrissy B. So love that so much. And then we have our subscriber in the spotlight, and she had a great story. She's one of the Hurricane Dorian survivors, and her mug survived the hurricane. It is Claudette Dean. She is an artist. She's a writer. She's absolutely fabulous. And that is her mug. So thank you guys for everyone who's sharing. We're going to continue to do that every week. And Dallisa, I thought this was a really good segue. You posed this question in Soul to Soul, and we asked folks to answer the question in our This Morning group in Ajatakasha. And Claudette, I'll put her up one more time, had one of those questions. So I thought this was a good place to start, is by answering Claudette's question. So you want to share, Dallisa, a little bit about what we asked and everything?
Absolutely. So the final segment of this morning is called Soul to Soul. And we'll give you a question to ponder for the week ahead. with the idea that you can go on to the Ajatakasha app. And inside of the app, at the very top of the main feed, there's a little plus button. You can hit that button and join the group for this morning. And I posted that soul to soul question in that group, which was, if you could select one person that's passed away, who would you select, and what would be the one question that you would want to ask them? So we had folks from last week's episode go on to Ajatakasha inside of this morning's group. And in that post, they've been posting their responses to that. So this episode will do another soul to soul question at the end. But yeah, I thought, why don't we, Lisa and I discussed, why don't we pick a couple of people that answered the soul to soul question from last week and see what messages, since Lisa and I are both multi-generational psychic mediums, and ask the other side and get maybe some messages or clarity for a few of the people who participated.
Love it. So we did Claudette is one of them. I wanted to say Claudine because it's Claudette Dean and I want to put it together. But Claudette, if you were watching, her question was asking if she could get some advice from her dad. And so we pulled some information. Do you want to share first, Dallisa, or what should we do?
Yeah, I'm going to tune in. Let me close my eyes for a moment. And so let me just take a quick look. I was peeking at the energy earlier. So yeah, if you want to jump in and I'll jump in, we'll see what starts coming forward first.
I love it. Well, Claudette, I had a message land this morning for you from your dad. And he said, you always seemed to know more than you shared. Share everything that's in that head of yours. It's brilliant. So that was what I got for Claudette today.
I love that. It's interesting because as soon as I tune into Claudette's energy and the energy of her father, I'm seeing salt and pepper shakers, and I'm not quite sure why. But I'm just going to take a peek at this because the way that I work, and I'll close my eyes often and just watch the symbolism and the little movies play out. I'm hearing him say the word tradition. And I'm feeling a nudge to have you bridge gaps in a way that feels traditional or going back to old ways or things that the family had done previously. It's almost, yeah, thank you. He's saying go back to like simpler times and maybe even journal or meditate on things that you did as a family that you really felt heart connection in and felt very joyful in. And see, they're saying like extend a hand, extend an invitation. So that's what I'm getting is revisiting family tradition.
Oh, I love that so much. Beautiful.
Yeah, cool.
So cool. Well, and we also picked Michelle Ketchum. So Michelle wanted to know. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just breathing.
Oh, okay. I think I've got feedback on my end is what's going on with my own technology today, you guys. So Michelle was asking about a message from her dad about how to connect with Lana, which is her sister. So when I tuned into that this morning, the thing that really came to me, and I actually pulled these messages in this morning and just kind of wrote some notes in my journal. And what came in from your dad, Michelle, was it's really tough for Lana to listen. And I got the sense it was in life as well. And he said to get really grounded and really listen to her first. And when you hear her, then you can start sharing with her from you and she'll listen to you as well. So I kind of there was kind of a stubborn sort of energy there when I looked at it.
Yeah, it's like this. It's like two bowls kind of colliding, and I'm hearing the word stubborn, if I'm being really honest. And so I would agree. I think it's about taking a step back and really finding yourself in a space of peace and balance and speaking again from a heart-centered place. The heart keeps coming in this morning. And I'm also hearing to forget about what has happened before and try to see a future with her from a new plane of existence, a new state of mind, a new energy frequency where anything can happen and anything is possible. I think the more you lower your walls and know that you're not going to be able to change anyone, and instead just kind of deal with what's coming back and forth in a way that is as neutral as possible. Because trying to convince or change something is probably going to lead to more resistance.
Love it. Love it. And last but not least, we pulled a message for Chrissy B. Chrissy B lost a young person in the family tragically, and she just wanted to know if that person had a message or if they found their light. And it was funny. I connected with their energy this morning, and it felt like he was like, I'm really okay. I'm okay. Like, don't worry about me. I'm okay. It was a very strong, like, I feel like they're still kind of stubborn. And so that was also kind of a stubborn energy I got this morning. It was like, I'm okay. Don't worry. And so that's what I got, but I'll let you tune in, Dallisa.
Yeah, I get a lot of gold light around this energy. I'm also feeling very at peace. I'm getting a lot of nature symbols on the other side, and being very active on the other side. I just see lots of running and kind of like frolicking around. So very light filled, happy, joyful energy. The message that I feel that they want to pass forward, because I think you had asked in the question about what would they like to say, and I keep feeling this butterfly go across the front of me. And so please know that they're sending butterflies as a symbol that they're okay. Oh, okay. And they're unexpectedly showing me a very beautiful golden shower of coins. And I've never really seen this before. It's like imagine like gold coins coming out of like a shower head and being showered. So the energy of abundance. So if there's anything going on in the family right now where you're wondering, is everything going to come together? Are we going to be okay? Are we going to have enough? Make sure you release the energy of feeling in lack or an energy of scarcity, because the energy on the other side is saying, you guys are going to be fine. Expect more. And what I'm hearing to tell you is to affirm when you wake up in the mornings, I expect miracles. I expect miracles. And they're actually showing me a post from the Ajatakasha app that I came across this morning about expecting miracles. And I know that the universe and the other side will use things and put them in our pathway so we can communicate them. And that was one of the things I feel needs to come forward for this family.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
Yay! I wonder what those salt and pepper shakers were. I know it was about tradition on that first question, but I'd love to, if whoever's question that was, if you could let us know in the app or in the comments, that would be fun.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, what's going on in your world? Let's do some updates.
Some updates. Here we go. Well, so let me push my button. I just love all this stuff. I'm not even gonna lie. Okay, so what is going on is we are in week 2 of the Ajatakasha community app, fully launched. It's fabulous. It's Ajatakasa. Ajatakasha is Sanskrit for infinite and boundless space, which is where all of us go when we get all of this information. And you can just go to ajatakasha.com, and there's all sorts of information on the community. But it's really wonderful. And I'm just so happy it's done and out. Excuse my throat. So that's up. And I have an upcoming Seeker Circle this Saturday. So I do every other week for members of my Indigo Premium group in the app. We do a live call. I actually do live readings for everybody on the call. We do a group meditation. It's really fun. I look forward to it every month, and then we do it twice a month. And so that's coming up on Saturday. So that's what I've got going on. And then the show tonight too. We have another show at 5:55 p.m. with Melissa Devine, who's also a medium. What about you, Bam? What do you got going on this week?
Yeah, you've always got a ton going on. We had a new episode of the podcast drop today. So the podcast just launched last week. It's called Highway to Healing. It's on Apple and Google and Spotify, and trying to get it on a few more platforms. But yeah, Highway to Healing. So today's episode is Andy Schilleth. He is amazing. He's a best-selling author. He wrote The Last Letter and The Wounded Healer. His mom was tragically killed by a drunk driver a long time ago. But that's just the beginning of the amazing story that Andy has to tell, and how I know the universe had a hand in certain things that played out right before her passing. And I have chills even as I say that. So Highway to Healing, episode 5 is Andy. And then the first 4 episodes from last week are on there. And just a reminder that we have a Random Act of Kindness campaign going on for February. And when you do a random act of kindness this month, we gift you with 1 free full-length session with Rachel Rizzi. She's a heart math coach. And for more information on that, you can visit spiritandspark.com. And in the menu, it says RAOK. And so just submit your random act of kindness. All the information's on there. But they've got some really cool things in the works. So we'll share those stories as they become available this month. And do we want to talk about our goal to get to 3K?
Oh, yeah, let's totally do it. We have a huge goal, you guys, to get to 3,000 subscribers. And Dallisa and I came up with a great gift for all of you guys when we hit it. So you want to share what we're going to do, Dallisa?
Yeah, so here's what needs to happen. Did we decide it was for February? Do we have to do it in February, or are we going to give people a little bit of wiggle?
I think we got through March, let's say.
Okay. So Lisa and I have around the same number of subscribers on our YouTube channel. And we need to get to 3,000 subscribers on each channel. So if you're currently watching this through the Buddhist Biohacker YouTube channel, make sure you go and subscribe to my channel, Spirit and Spark TV, and vice versa. You should be subscribing to both channels, because if Lisa and I both have 3,000 subscribers on both of our channels by, let's see, March, what is that? March 31st? Yeah, there's 31 days in March. March 31st, if we both can get to 3,000 subscribers, we are going to go on live, and we're just going to do a bunch of free readings for the viewers. So it's going to be fun, and I think it's completely achievable, but it is going to require you to subscribe to the channel. I know some of you watch just without having a YouTube account or without subscribing. Now's the time to hit the button. We need you to tell your friends and family, because really, it doesn't take that many people to start encouraging friends and family to subscribe because you love our content. And then it just starts growing and growing, and we'd get to 3,000 with no problem at all.
So true. And we both have lots and lots of content. I know, the intention is to create conscious content for supporting all of us through this time. So we just love it and appreciate it. And I think it's kind of nice because I didn't really know much about YouTube a year ago. I'm not going to lie. And it was my 8 and 9-year-old girls that told me how to work it. So that tells you a lot about where I'm at. But one of the things that I've learned is when you subscribe to a channel, if they have lives, you can set reminders. And because we do so many live shows on our channels, it gives you the opportunity to not miss anything live, which means you don't have ads when you're watching live, and you get to participate, which is what we love. So just that's kind of what I think is the perk about it, is you're notified on all of those things. So that's my story with that.
Beautiful. And we have an amazing guest on today's show. We're going to bring him on in just a moment. And his name is Benjamin Bernstein. He is known as the Astro Shaman. I have actually had sessions with him, and he knows a lot about astrology. So when we were launching this show, I said, Lisa, we got to have Benjamin on the show, because he's one of those people where when you hear him speak, you know that he does a lot of research around what the planets are doing and what it means. Lisa and I love to bring in, amazing guests. And we also like to bring in our predictions to the show, because we know that a lot of you are feeling confused, lost, tired, overwhelmed. You feel maybe the energy isn't as clear as it once was. And so each week when you join us for this morning, we will bring you whatever insight that we have. Today we did mediumship, and Benjamin is excited. He's going to come on and talk about what's going on for the week ahead.
Yes, I love it. And before we're going to bring Benjamin on in just 1 second. Before we do, I have a couple in the news updates for everybody. I love sharing these. So let me just share my screen. I think it's really important to share what is actually going on in the news based on our predictions, because otherwise you just don't know. You know what I mean? So Dallisa shared last week about her, there we go. I'm like, I know it's coming. Oh, wait, I have to turn this banner off. So Dallisa shared last week about the markets and the markets going up and the markets, shifting. And this is an article straight from Fortune magazine talking about the volatility on Monday. And yet the stock market is hitting all new highs. So I wanted to share that. And my monthly flow, which is my monthly transmission, one of the things that the Sacred Council talked about was bitter cold this month. And I was really excited to see that already popped up in the news. They're really never wrong, that there is an Arctic blast that's coming across this week. And so I wanted to share that as well. So just a couple fun tidbits to our predictions. Those are always good to know. And if we're ready, I am so ready to bring Benjamin on, the Astro Shaman. We're so excited to have him, and we're going to bring him into the studio right now. So welcome to the show, Benjamin.
Hey, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, I'm so excited to meet you. Dalisa's told me so much about you.
That's my pleasure. So let me just reality check. If I take about 15 minutes for this forecast, will that be about right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there's two segments I wanted to cover, or two things. We, of course, today is February 11. We have the Aquarius new moon today. And any Aquarius new, and by the way, that's happening at 2:06 p.m. Eastern time. And Aquarius new moons are great for new beginnings in the three high side Aquarian qualities. One is to fly your freak flag, which is to be your unique self and express it into the world as much as is appropriate. Aquarius is about getting the intuitive hit and acting on it. Those intuitive hits are 100% reliable because there are the downloads from your higher self. And also a high level of Aquarian expression is to serve others using your special gifts that you most love to use. Now, I always look at the aspects of a new moon. This new moon is tightly conjunct the asteroid goddess Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena is, about a degree and a half off conjunction to the luminaries. Pallas Athena is the warrior goddess who sprang fully armored from the head of Zeus, and she can totally kick ass when she wants to. But I like her other qualities even better because she's really good at negotiation, diplomacy, politics, that sort of thing, where it's let's talk it out, let's get a win-win solution. So as you move forward with your new moon goals, think in terms of not how can I dominate or control, but how can I work with folks so everyone comes out ahead. Mercury is also loosely conjunct the luminaries. Mercury is about communication. So that kind of goes along with the negotiation and diplomacy theme. One potentially challenging aspect of the new moon, Mars is square the luminaries. That means he's at 90 degrees to them. Mars, if you're in a conflict situation, Mars can represent like being attacked or people using assertive energy against you. In which case, be diplomatic, be clever, be smart. I've learned it's always best not to counterattack dark side attacks, but go to the high side energies and just kind of hold your boundaries if possible. But Mars can also come in positively because Mars is used standing in your assertiveness and going out and making things happen. Mars is the warrior, although I prefer the phrase striving for a worthy cause. He's the entrepreneur, the pioneer, just going out and making it happen. Mars in Taurus, where he is right now, it's all about long-term endurance. So I wanted to just share a few things about the new moon. But what I'm most excited about sharing with you today is today we have the first exact hit of the biggest event of the year astrologically, Saturn square Uranus. And this is a really big deal. It's exact on February 17, but it's lasting actually 26 months. I kid you not. We say it came into orb, which means it was close enough to start energizing. That happened back in late November of 2020. and it will not leave orb. These two planets will stay will influence each other through late January of 2023. The exact hits this year will be February 17, June 14, and December 24th. And a lot of the themes I'll be using here are drawn from my friend Ren Butler. He wrote this amazing book called The Archetypal Universe, Astrological Patterns in Human Culture, Thought, Emotion, and Dreams. And much of what I'll say will come from that. You were just talking about how your psychic predictions had come out into reality. There's so much happening right now in the news that is totally Saturn, Uranus. And I wanted to just give some examples of that. Let me give the general vibe first. Broadly speaking, now, of course, as much as time allows, I'll bring in these various themes of Saturn and Uranus together. But one big theme is conservative forces. You know, Saturn can be, I want to hold into tradition and keep it like it's always been. And Uranus says, forget that. Let's just go radical and break it open and do something radical and new. Okay. So examples of the Saturn-Uranus square just recently, the Capitol riots. Okay. Here we have the Saturn, the US government. And here we have these radical people, you know, coming in, storming the Capitol. They represent Uranus in this context. So Uranian overzealousness, you know, threatening a Saturnian structure. Even within the Republican Party, like there's been very recently, there was a big to-do between Liz Cheney and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Of course, Liz Cheney is among the more conservative Republicans. She's trying to stand for the traditional Republican values of, you know, economic conservatism and, you know, upright, you know, conscientious, responsible kind of people. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is coming in with her radical conspiratorial views and just, you know, saying, let's kill the Democrats. And she is very Uranian in this case. So here we have a really awesome example of Liz Cheney being Saturn, and I'm trying to hold into the mainstream Republican values, and Marjorie Taylor Greene coming in all Uranus and just getting, you know, crazy. Even the transition from Trump to Biden is interesting because, in a sense, there's Saturn and Uranus on both sides of this. Trump, in many ways, is very Iranian. I mean, he's done things that have, you know, never been done before. He's very radical and extreme and unpredictable, and some would say crazy. And that is very Uranian. And at the same time, he's tying into this very Saturn thing, you know, hardcore mainstream American and deep conservative values and save American jobs and save coal and, you know, very Capricorn things and Saturn things. I sometimes mix up the sign and planet because Saturn and Capricorn mean the same thing, just like Uranus and Aquarius mean the same thing. Over on Biden's side, compared to Trump, Biden's going to be very Saturn. You say, let's get back to some of our, you know, predictable structure. Let's have a more sane, predictable, methodical government instead of, you know, ruled by Twitter. At the same time, Biden is doing some very Uranian things. He's saying, I'm putting environment at the center of all my policies, which is very radical compared to what prior governments has done. He's even going further than Obama did in terms of putting environmental concerns very deep into his policy. So it's fascinating where Trump and Biden, we've got some Saturn and some Uranus on both sides. One more example, the GameStop situation was so fascinating. If y'all don't know what was going on there, there were these independent traders on Reddit. They had a little subreddit group, and they all decided, well, we love GameStop, this little retailer that's in malls selling video games and game consoles. And all these big hedge fund managers had bet against GameStop, and they had done shorts on the stock, meaning they were going to make money if the stock tanked. But these traders say, oh, we're going to stick it to the hedge fund traders and we're all going to buy it. And sure enough, with the power of their collective purchasing, all these people in this group drove the stock up crazy. I mean, it went up from single digits to several $100s a share before it peaked. And they literally caused these hedge fund managers to take billions of dollars in losses. Fascinating. This has never happened before. So here's the Reddit traders, Uranus, we're doing something radical and unknown and unprecedented. And here's the Saturn, you know, hedge fund traders with their predictable structures all of a sudden blown to pieces. So it's so fascinating to see Saturn and Uranus all over the news right now in so many different ways. Okay, so My clock tells me I've got about 8 minutes. Is it okay with you guys if I now
Yeah.
go broadly about Saturn and Uranus here?
Yeah, I'm loving this. This is
This
awesome.
is great. I love the examples because I know myself, I'm sure people watching are like, oh, that makes sense. I see how those energies are lining up in the real life. So love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now that I've given specifics, let me be more broad. Okay. Everything in astrology has a high and low possibility. So here's some shadow possibilities of Saturn and Uranus. It's the costs of freedom, limitations on freedom. I mean, we've seen that so big time with the coronavirus and masking and distancing and can't gather, the pain of individuation. Now, these, believe it or not, these phrases were written by Ren Butler years ago, way before any of this coronavirus and extreme radical politics happened. Some of the definitions he wrote down were acute tension between liberal and conservative elements, polarized extreme between reactionary and progressive impulses, liberation with complicating factors, failed or compromised experiments, like, our pandemic response is, stuttering along, we're making progress, but there's a lot of experimentation that's working and not. Unexpected problems, disruptions, severe shocks, rude awakenings. And this will apply not just in the larger society, but in our individual lives as well, and even within our individual psyches. It's on all levels. If Saturn gets too strong compared to Uranus, you get repression of the young, dissenting, or eccentric members of society by forces of authority and tradition, forgotten ideals, endless compromises, future shock, fear of change, unbearable physical tensions, body armor and character armor, and hypervigilance. Whereas if Uranus goes overboard, which we've seen in some of these extreme, like the Capitol riots, ongoing impatience and extremism, need for unreasonable levels of independence, irresponsible or harmful forms of rebellion. I think the Capitol riots would qualify for that. Giving up secure foundations prematurely, and this so describes Trump, consequences of unchecked experimentation or hubris. Now at the same time, Saturn and Uranus can come together very positively. And here's some upside ways that these guys can play together. Responsible, and I think what I'm perceiving as I hear Biden lay out his plan, this sounds like more what he's trying to do when he lays out his agenda and what he's been doing so far. Responsible and balanced freedom, careful change and innovation, cautious experimentation, freedom through structure, liberating routine, hard-won liberation, liberation in increments, conscious and deliberate freeing of yourself. So those are some ways that Saturn and Uranus can come together beautifully. One way that I like to use it personally is I say Uranus is the intuitive hit, which is the guiding principle, and then Saturn is the structure and the mature, responsible, time managed, well-planned way I'm going to carry out that intuitive guidance. There's let me see what else here. There's even a quote here from Carl Jung, who in his own natal chart had Saturn opposite Uranus. And he said, freedom stretches only as far as the limits of our consciousness. And that is, I love that quote. I have a different way of saying that. I say a level of consciousness cannot comprehend a level beyond itself. So with that quote, we could say Saturn is the consciousness you have so far, but Uranus would be the breakthrough taking you to the next level up that you could never have even anticipated till you got to it. So I have about 4 minutes before I have to go, but and let me just put one little more bow on this. There's actually, I've mentioned the Saturn-Uranus square is a multi-year phenomenon, but there's going to be several time periods where it's going to be more intense. And that's because Mars is going to come along and make hard aspects. He's going to conjunct or square or oppose Saturn and Uranus. And we just came out of one now. He was conjoining Uranus and square Saturn from mid-December of last year through February 7. And if you want to mark your calendars, here's periods when I expect things will be more intense because of the Mars, kind of stimulating up Saturn and Uranus. It'll be June 16 through July 15, and then November 3rd through November 26th will be other periods of really strong stimulation. So I've got more I could say, but I wanted to give you all like 3 minutes if you had any questions or discussion you want to do around that.
It sounds
like, yeah, that's exactly. I was like, oh, I guess my birthday in November is going to be wild.
Possibly.
Oh my God, that was so great. Go ahead.
The third hit is right on Christmas Eve, right? The third hit this year.
Well, again, that it's not a moment, it's a period. Actually, no, it's done by November 26th, so that'll be well before Christmas Eve.
What's the aspect that's on Christmas Eve this year? Because I know we mentioned December 24th early on. There were 3 periods. I think it's February.
I'm sorry. Yes. There's an exact Saturn Uranus square. It's the final one that is on December 24th. That's correct.
Oh, God. All right. Well, I'll just keep my crash helmet on for all of 2021 until I think, forever, for the next decade?
Well, again, the idea is not to cower under the bed. What is true in my experience is that when you're under the greatest catalyst, which we as a global civilization are right now, that is when you can make the greatest breakthroughs in consciousness. I've seen over and over when I have a client come in and they're about to have a nervous breakdown and I'm about to do a shamanic healing, I say, good, you're about to have a really sweet breakthrough. Let's get going. Because when the stuff is stirred up, then you can clear a lot and you can have a really big slingshot effect into the light. So we as a society are having that opportunity. We're seeing very intensely, here's where we're dysfunctional, here's where we're wounded, here's where we need help. And if we do that skillfully, then we can catapult more quickly into the Aquarian age that I believe is coming.
A question about that, because I know you have to run. People that are coming to us and saying, I'm exhausted, I feel overwhelmed, I don't have any clarity. I know you are both a shaman and astrologer. You do a lot around energy and energy healing. What would be like that first step for everybody listening right now that might feel that way? Is there something you normally say to start with?
Yeah. In fact, can I mention it as a free resource on my website? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. If you'll go to astroshaman.com, my site, the last word on the menu bar is invocations. And if you'll click that, it'll describe this little 6-part masterclass I'm offering, the free invocation masterclass. And at the bottom of that, if you just plug in your name and email, it'll sign you up. You'll be able to see these 6 videos I made, and they will teach you how to call in awakening and healing from your own higher self. I was downloaded with these by divine inspiration about 10 years ago. I've been sharing them ever since. And it's stunning how, I can literally guide people into embodied awakening, usually within 5 or 10 minutes easily, even if they've never meditated before. You literally ask your higher self to come in and it comes in and you have a shift of consciousness. In the same way, if you've got something stirred up, some challenging emotion or physical sensation, you can ask your divine to heal that. You use a 7-word invocation, you call it in, you relax. And after you call the divine in to either awaken or heal, you literally just relax and you just witness, and your divine self literally does it for you. It's really, really extraordinary. And it is way faster than most other tools that are out there to achieve awakening or healing. And I only say this because I've received so many hundreds of emails of people saying it works so well. And I believe these are field tested tools. Of course, if you're interested, go there, try it for yourself and see for yourself whether or not the tool is good for you.
So astroshaman.com, go to the menu and go to invocations at the bottom of the menu.
Well, actually, invocations is the last word on the right on the menu bar.
Perfect.
And from there will be a description of the invocations and a little place you can plug in your name and email at the bottom to get access to the free 6-part class. Yeah.
I'm so glad I asked.
Yeah, you do.
It's wonderful to connect with you. That was awesome. I'm so happy to have you here with us.
Oh, I'm honored. Yeah, I'd love to come back sometime if that's appropriate. There's always new astrology happening.
There's something going on, and I can speak to your one-on-one astrology readings because I've had a few, and they are very precise. You share your screen, you show what's going on. So anybody interested in astrology, I can speak from my experience. The astrology sessions are on point, so make sure you check those out when you go to astroshaman.com.
Oh, thank you. You're very kind.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on.
Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry I have to run, but I'm glad it all worked out for the timing. Thanks so much for having me.
It did. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much.
All right, bye. Oh, wow.
So good. So much information.
It was. I'd love to hear in the comments, everybody watching, let me know, let Lisa know, what did you think of Benjamin's Benjamin's forecasting and what he said about Saturn and Uranus, and that we're going to get hit these multiple times this year.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah. So comment and let us know. I'm glad he shared the invocation information on his website, because I think that will be helpful, because we're always asked, where do I even start? And so that's just another free resource that we can send to folks. So how do you feel about the energy for the rest of this year? Is there anything that's kind of coming to mind?
What he said is so good about this being a catalyst. This is a catalyst moment. This is an ascension cycle. And I think there's two things that come through for me time and time again about 2021. Number one is, just like he said, what are you being invited to do? Go do it. Look at it, heal it, fix it, grow it, build it, whatever this is, like, go do it. And then I also just keep getting, it's about bringing God source into form. So whether you're writing, painting, drawing, teaching, whatever it is you're doing, it's are you bringing God source into form through you? Because that's what we are. We are an expression of God, and it's source's way of experiencing this reality is through all of us. So really, that ascension cycle, that's it. It's a catalyst moment. We came here for this catalyst moment. It is that. So that's what I think. What about you?
I think this is a year, I agree with you. And also that it's like the fast track. It's funny what they just showed me. I get some random downloads lately. They're showing me like you're at Disneyland, and they're like, oh, go get your fast pass.
Yes.
This is the year of the fast pass, where it's like, okay, I'm going to do it. I get to go on this ride. So like, think of it like your life is unfolding and all of these layers are peeling back, and you have this incredible opportunity. You're on the ride. What are you going to do with it? So I think a lot of us by the end of this year are going to look back, from the last year, this year, and really not even recognize a lot of the pieces of our life anymore, how we operate, how we think. We are in a very fast, rapid lane. We're in the HOV lane. We're driving down the freeway. But I would caution you, because not you, Lisa, because I know you and I talk a lot about all this stuff, but the folks watching, it can be easier perhaps to put the blindfold on, like Benjamin was saying, and you could kind of just put your head down, close your eyes, and say, I'm just going to get through this. I'm going to get to next year. I'm going to get to next month, whatever it is. That is not what this time period and energy is encouraging you to do. And I think we have a lot of volatility and energy the next 4 years. And I would just peel back the layers and heal it as we go along, because if you don't, it's just going to keep hitting you until you decide you're going to work on learning the lesson.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. I have to give a shout out. This is so great. I have the Jatakasha app up right now on my screen, and I'm going to share it because Mary Lydia Ryan, who we love so much, who's an amazing musician, totally just posted this, and I have to share it with everybody. You're going to love this, Dallisa. She's totally watching us right now.
That's amazing.
It totally is. This is the community app for those of you who want to be part of a spiritual social media space. And Mary just posted this. She's watching us with her Cafe Racer radio mug. And a shout out to a girl's room also who's in the app, and just had to share that. I thought you'd appreciate that. I love it so much.
That makes me smile. Oh, that's amazing.
It totally is.
It's a real morning show.
I know. I love it so much. So I just wanted to give a shout out. Thank you for that. And that's awesome. And I'm so glad you're watching us. It's so good.
I love it. Yeah, it's funny. In high school, I never got, I think there's an echo going on.
Uh-oh. I don't hear it, so that's good.
Okay. I'll keep talking. And I'll try not to get completely distracted by it. When I was in high school, I was kind of not that popular. I mean, I was like, mediocre, right? Like I had friends in all the groups, but I was never voted anything. Like best hair, best smile, like never, like probably wasn't ever considered even in like a top 50 list. But what I will say is when I went to college, I was voted most likely to become a TV news anchor. And Lisa, we did it.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. I love it so much. This is definitely something in my dreams too. I think it's just awesome that we love doing this. And I hope you guys love this too. And it's just so fabulous. So we'll keep going.
Exactly. And a reminder before we close out today, I'm going to do the soul to soul question here in just a moment, but a reminder to subscribe to both the Buddhist Biohacker and the Spirit and Spark TV YouTube channels. Get us to 3,000 subscribers each by March 31st. Lisa and I will then jump on and do readings, and we'll have a lot of fun. We'll make it like a reading extravaganza, online live streaming. So don't miss that. So if you could share this show, share our channels with your friends and your family, we'd really, really appreciate it. So after we get done with this broadcast today, I will go into the Ajatakasha app and I will post 2 threads inside of the group for this morning. One will be for you to post your coffee cup and you holding your coffee mug photos. The other one will be the soul to soul question to ponder for this week. Yay! So here, and this is from this book, we used it last week, If Questions for the Game of Life. I used to own a dating company with like speed dating, matchmaking, all that stuff. And I would suggest these books to my clients because it makes you really get to know somebody by asking like a date or a boyfriend or significant other these questions. And then you're like, oh God, no, we can't get married. No. Mm-mm. So you learn about somebody pretty quickly. Okay. I'm not saying I did that ever. Okay. So the question for this week, and Lisa, if you want to answer it, you certainly can.
Okay. I'm ready.
Because we were having a conversation yesterday on Instagram. We did a live Instagram video. And this year is about embracing your fears, embracing things that might feel volatile, and instead going inward and simplifying and getting back to basics and neutral. And so I thought this question was a good one for people to think about. If you were stranded on a desert island and could have with you only one object you currently own, what would you take?
Oh my God, cauldron.
She's been objectified.
Oh my gosh, she has. I would totally take cauldron. But I suppose if I had to take an actual object, I have this book. I actually can grab it. I have in 2009, I went to see His Holiness the Dalai Lama for a 3-day teaching on the Bodhicitta in New York City at Radio City Music Hall. And when I went, we were given Shantideva's text on the Bodhisattva, and inside of it is the Bodhisattva vows that His Holiness actually asked if anybody wanted to take them. We were able to take them with His Holiness as our guru during that teaching on the last day, which was pretty profound because this is a great story. I ran into the Dalai Lama on the lunch break of the 3rd day of the teachings. It was pretty wild. Every day I was going a certain way. I went and ate at Rockefeller Center. I love New York City so very much. And the 3rd day, I thought, I'm going to go a completely different way. Like, I don't want to go the same way I've been going. And so I went out the back of Radio City Music Hall for the lunch break. And I went around this corner and I literally ran into a Secret Service agent, like ran into him going around this corner. And they're like so huge. They're like the hugest, biggest men you've ever seen. Secret Service. I swear. It's like they must have like a rule about how tall they are. And I was startled and I looked up and there was the Dalai Lama like 10 feet from me. I have a picture of it. I'll pull it up and I'll post it in the community app. But I took a picture of him. He waved at me. He smiled. And then right after that lunch break, he asked who wanted to take the vows, and then he felt like it was time to do that. And it was really awesome. So that is the object. What about you? I'm going to grab this book because I think I have it right over here and I can show you. But what about you?
Yeah, mine's pretty simple. I'd say a crank radio. One that, you can just crank the handle and you can listen to radio broadcasts that's coming in. Because if I was on an island, I would want to make sure I had some access to information. And if the aliens are there by that time, I'd want to know if the aliens are sending any messages through the radio signals.
Oh my God, I love that.
You know what? There's one thing I saw last night and I thought was really fascinating. You can look this up for yourself. Lucille Ball, I don't know if you've heard this. She was driving. This was, long time ago when she was very young. And she was driving and she started picking up a radio broadcast that was coming from her mouth. She's like, this is really strange. And like the next week, she starts hearing like beep, 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 like in her mouth. And so she goes to, whatever studio she was working for at the time and tells them the story, and they reported it to the FBI. Well, it turns out Lucille Ball was picking up Morse code and radio frequencies from spies from World War II. And she was driving past where they were hidden. And they figured it out because her fillings in her teeth were picking up the signals.
That's crazy. Oh my God, I love that story. That's so crazy.
I know.
Oh my God, a crank radio. That's a cool object, Dallisa. That's kind of old school. I'm into it.
Yeah, where's the book at?
I don't know. I thought I had it right here. This is funny because I practice, like it's in my practices every week. So I have like this little thing that I use, and I must have taken it to a different room because I'm like, I use this every day almost. I'm like, I don't know where it's at. It's bad. But anyway, don't know. Wasn't meant to show it maybe on TV. Maybe it's supposed to not be. And I want to say Wicked Love Media, the TV network is coming soon to all of you, actually. So it seems like maybe from your handle, you also have a channel, Wicked Love Media. So maybe you should email me at mail@Lisa.M.Gunshore, and we can have a conversation about whatever you're doing. But yes, we actually have some conscious television coming to you guys soon. So don't worry, it's happening right now. We're in it. Anyways.
Yeah, we're looking forward to hearing everybody's object. What would the one thing you would take with you that you already currently have if you could only pick one thing when you're exiled to your island?
Yes.
So we'll post that over in Ajatakasha. And help us get to 3,000. Maybe even after we get done with this broadcast, we'll already be there.
Yes. Wouldn't that be awesome? Yes. We are just, it's tough to solicit spiritual stuff, you guys. But here's the thing. I really feel like we all have these incredible shows and content and things to support everyone. And I have not engaged in the mainstream narrative in about a year now. And it's kind of amazing when you just start connecting in with other healers and teachers and spiritual people and not even having to deal with the mainstream stuff. And it's not about avoiding it or not being informed. To me, it's more about whatever you fill your life up with is what you're going to put out into the world and what you're going to receive. And so, scrolling a feed like Ajatakasha's, where you're connecting with like-minded individuals and doing meditations and inspirational quotes and sharing cards and readings and all those things, and watching, Spirit and Spark TV or the Buddhist Biohacker or Julie Hoyle's channel or any of the channels that we have on here that we share on our shows. It's so rich. It's rich and it's fulfilling and it's joyful, and you're not being bombarded with all the negativity and the divisive energy that's out there right now, because it's still I think this split's gonna get worse. I mean, I know we're kind of coming to a close here, but I'm just curious, Dallisa. I mean, it seems like the division is going to get worse over the next few years, to me anyways.
I do. I do. I think that there'll be a lot of us against them and vice versa. I think there's potential for a revolution. I think the collective is still trying to decide how it's going to play out. I also think that there's likely galactic energies and entities involved with it too, because it could include more than just us here, in the US. It could have much larger ramifications. So, by the time we get to 2030, I think we'll be like, oh God, like that was something else. But it's also why we're here right now. We wanted to be front row for this and be a part of it and have our energy here. So I'm glad I'm here, but I'm also just looking around with eyes wide open.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. And the galactic piece, there's so much more happening than what is happening in like mainstream information. And so, tune in to your own intuition every morning before you turn on that phone or that television or that radio. Like, listen to what's up here. Let spirit show you what's going on in the world. And I think that that's Dallisa and I, that's part of our intention with this show, is we're going to share with you guys what we're doing. I guess, hey, I want to say for everybody out there before we close, one thing that Dallisa and I want is some boots on the ground reporters. So if you guys want to be a reporter in your location all around the world, I think we want to know what's going on in the world, with news, spiritually, whatever's happening. So if you're interested in being boots on the ground, just shoot us an email or come visit one of our websites and fill out our want to be on film pages or any of those things. Just find us, message us, and let us know, because we'd love to have you be a part of the show as well.
Yes, that would be a fun aspect to bring in people from all over the world. So we'd love to hear from you. Yeah, well, another successful show.
Yes.
And we will be back again next Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Mountain, noon Eastern. And we'll welcome back another incredible guest, another astrologer, different one, and we'll look at the week ahead. I'm sure we'll have lots of updates too. So I'm going to go put our threads on the Ajatakasha app right now. And so go on there and shoot us your pictures and answer the Soul to Soul question.
Yes. I love all you guys so much. I love you, Dallisa, so much. And yes, another fabulous show. And thank you for everybody who's watching us live. Click like, click subscribe. I'm getting better at saying that. Do it.
Yes, please. Both of our channels.
Yes.
The road to 3,000.
Yes. All right. Bye, guys. Mwah.
Bye.